What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome back for some more Fire Emblem Heroes. And in this video I'm going to be giving you guys a banner review of the Familial Festivities banner and the units that have come with this patch. So the timestamps can be found in the description right below that like button. And as always, I want to thank ShailorMercury for the layout. Her Twitter is also going to be linked in the description. So let us begin. The first unit that we're going to be taking a look at is going to be the free unit that we're going to be getting from the Tempest trial this week, and it is going to be Spring Bartre. So he's a sword infantry unit with 172 BST, and he has a similar weapon to Spring Narcian called Carrot Cudgel. And if he's within 2 spaces of an ally, then he gets +5 attack and +5 defense during the combat, and he can also neutralize any kind of penalty to his attack and defense. So that is just really useful because he does have pretty high attack, so he's definitely going to be attracting some chill attack debuffs, and he does have decent defense as well. So being immune to those kinds of debuffs is going to be extremely useful. So it doesn't really hinder his performance as a tank, and also like how hard he can hit. And this is also pretty good for the tanks who don't really have a preferred weapon, so they could run this kind of thing and just not really care about those debuffs. And Bartre as a unit is actually pretty decent. He does have high HP, has high 40 base attack, pretty low speed, and defense is also decently high. Unfortunately, resistance is alright. I wish they min-maxed him a bit more, like 5 speed points could have gone into resistance. But obviously min-maxing of that sort is not going to be happening to a free unit. It is only restricted to banner units, as we have seen time and time again. So yeah, that is a bit unfortunate. If his resistance was a bit higher, he would have been a fantastic tank. But even without that, he is a very solid physical tank, and there's really not much you have to do to build him up. You could have steady stance or sturdy stance in the slot A skill, and quick riposte is obviously going to be a really good skill for slot B. And auto attack wave is decent, but once again, attack smoke is a better skill for tanks in general. And auto attack wave is also available on him as a 4-star unit. So it's a good 240 SP skill, which can be used for arena scoring and I guess for self-sufficiency. But there are rouse and oath skills if you need the self-sufficiency, and they do happen every turn, but they are not really easily available except for Ferdinand's, I guess. So once again, a pretty decent option. So he can work as a physical tank with those kinds of skills. Obviously Bonfire and Ignis are going to be his main specials, even though he can only access like Safeguard Plus and Guard Sword because they're 5-star exclusives. His default weapon is pretty good for his cheap build, and he could also use him productively with his high attack for Arena Assault. Winter Sothis and a lot of green armors are going to be a really common sight in Arena Assault, so he could be made up with Armor Smasher, Death Blow, stuff like that, and fully utilize his massive 40 attack. So that could always be done, and he can also be built up for arena scoring, but there are far better units than him if you really want to go after arena scoring, like Itsuki, who does have a preferred weapon, so it's a bit easier for you to have the max score. And there are also other units from the 3-star, 4-star pool where you do not really need to spend any of your grails, like Echidna, Valbar, Ross, and units like those, which can be merged up to +10 for arena scoring. But still pretty decent unit, even though he is another sword infantry unit. At least he's not really trying to be offensive. He can work as a tank or even as an armor slayer. And the only thing which I don't like about him is that he comes with Obstruct 3. Like, why? You could have given Quick Riposte 3, but that's basically gonna be it for him. And the Tempest trial is gonna be starting on 20, I believe. And Bartre is gonna be a free unit. And it seems like we have reduced sacred seals from this point on. So instead of getting 3 sacred seals, we're only gonna be getting 2. And the prize slot where you got the other sacred seal, it's gonna be occupied by the limited time ephemeras instead. So you could use them to get the limited fodder like Spring Kagero, Spring Camilla as of making this video. But the 2 seals we have are Defense Feint and Death Blow. Defense Feint is obviously pretty good in arena usage where you are forced to run rally skills for scoring, so that is good. And Death Blow is just the king of blows, and everyone was expecting this because all of the other blow skills are already as sacred seals. So Death Blow is going to be extremely good for player phase nuking units like Lilina, Reinhardt, and units of those nature. So definitely looking forward to that. And in my opinion, like, losing the 3rd sacred seal isn't really all that big of a deal personally, because a lot of time it's just a dot sacred seal with like a defined skill or something like that, which as it is no one really uses or upgrades, and I think they're kind of running out of sacred seals to make. But once again, they have been adding so many new skills that they could always release rouse or oath skills as sacred seals, but I guess this is gonna slow down the availability of those seals if they ever even plan to make those. So I can see why a lot of people are really disliking this change, but rarely in the past there have been any kind of Tempest trial where all of the 3 sacred seals were phenomenal, but that's just what my opinion is. As for bonus units, a lot of people have Feint, a lot of people have Bartre, so gonna be pretty easy to have the bonus unit this time around. And Spring Bartre is also a pretty good unit, I guess, for auto battle. If you have Axe or Feint of Bartre, his Fury could be annoying. So you could definitely try to have another Refine on him. And Narcian can also be gotten relatively easy from the banner because he's a 4-star focus unit. The next unit we have is Spring Idunn. So she's a 184 BST armor dragon with a duo effect. And the dual skill in her duo effect gives her 185 BST when she's already 184 BST. So that's kind of funny. So her weapon is extremely stacked in terms of effects. It is effective on armored foes, it gives her +3 resistance, and if she has got any kind of visible buff, or if she's within 2 spaces of an ally, she can neutralize penalties on herself from any kind of chill skills or debuffs of those sort, and she can also inflict -6 attack debuff on the foe during the combat, and the foe cannot make a follow-up attack. So it has a bunch of effects. Legendary Hector is rolling with his Thunder Armats. Firstly, Mamori comes in and smashes his preferred weapon with her preferred, and now Idunn is here with like such stacked preferred weapon on top of denying follow-up attacks of the enemy. So this allows her to run like an Omnibreaker set with Vengeful Fighter that she already comes with, and -6 attack debuff during the combat is extremely powerful for a tank, especially when you can stack that up with other debuffs like from Chill Attack or Attack Smoke. Armor units cannot really inherit loud skills, just to keep that in mind, so she's not going to be able to make use of that. But regardless, it's an insanely powerful effect and it's pretty flexible to trigger. There are 2 conditions. Either you have the visible buff on her, so you could run some kind of self-sufficiency skill to always maintain that condition. If you're not going to be having allies within 2 spaces, but I cannot really see many scenarios where you would not do that to her and just have her surrounded with more support units to increase her bulk. So very good weapon. Comes with sturdy stance 3, a new skill, and go dragons. So her duo skill is active in 5 rows and columns centered on her and gives +6 defense and resistance to allies within that area. And they also get the status where they neutralize effective damage from dragons and armors. So just like many duo heroes, she's very powerful in the hands of the player, but in hands of AI, she is not really going to be doing much because the AI cannot really trigger the duo skills. So providing the immunity to dragon and armor allies is a huge boon for tanking, or if you're running a lot of those allies on a team, just running a tanky team, there it then brings a lot of utility. But in general, like, armor units are not really all that good in something like Ether Raids for tanking because of their low mobility. And dragons are definitely really viable, obviously, but still there's a certain point until they can tank because many of the teams will pack a lot of nukes. Someone like Legendary Alm doesn't really care about effective damage and he will still blow your defensive unit to shreds. So that is always going to be a problem. So it's not like a free real estate for those kinds of units just because they can cover themselves up with this immunity. So that is something to keep in mind. And there's also that structure, Duo Hindrance, which is quite situational, so I guess it's not going to be all that common, but still, that is the utility of Idunn. If you use many armor units or dragon units in that kind of mode, or in general for tanking, then Idunn provides that incentive to you. And just as a unit, she's a solid tank. She can just not care about any kind of debuffs. She has -6 attack debuff on foe, can deny their follow-up attacks, so that's really good. And if you want to build her up, then this encounter in slot A is definitely going to be a nice thing to make use of her high resistance. She actually does have super boon in resistance and defense as well, and I guess Vengeful Fighter is good for slot B, but you could also run Special Fighter and Quick Repose Sacred Seal to also prevent the foe from charging any of their specials, because that can always be done. And for slot C, Go Dragons isn't really all that good, let's be honest. You could run Attack Smoke, which can stack up with the in combat debuff that she has got with her weapon, and in general that's going to be better for her as a tank. And even though she's a red unit, she can still be used in Ether Raid's offense with like 2 airs and resistance super boon. She can reach pretty high visible resistance to still deal with Ophelia, and because she is immune to any kind of debuff or penalty, that does make her a pretty strong candidate for a super tank. if you are going to be going after her for merges and stuff. But in general, with these kinds of seasonal banners, it's not really all that easy to get the merges and stuff. So definitely a pretty powerful unit. Once again, it's going to be annoying in Arena Assault when you're going to be constantly facing her, because wheels are definitely going to be getting her due to her scoring. And the next unit we have is Spring Fir. So I'm just going to be comparing the stats which I speculated in my first impression with the actual stats. I didn't do that for Idunn because we already knew her stats from the trailer. So for Fir, I went for 34 base attack. She ends up with 35. I actually didn't expect her to be like faster than 40 base speed, but there she is. And I thought, just like her original version, she will have high resistance, but it turns out here she has got higher defense than resistance, which is pretty interesting. So I was decently close enough, I guess, with stuff like her attack, but definitely fell short when it came to guessing her bulk. So she does have a super boon in speed, extremely fast axe flyer, one of a kind. There are not really any kind of axe flyers who can really challenge her in this kind of offensive role. On top of that, she has got a preferred weapon, so even if there are more offensive axe flyers in the game, she is always going to be retaining that kind of niche to herself. And this weapon is pretty good. It gives her -1 special cooldown and is effective on armored units, and also has null follow-up built into it. So she's a really good one-off copy because she can be used in Arena Assault, and she can in general be used as a really powerful offensive unit because of having -1 special cooldown, which makes Gale Force a 4-turn cooldown special. And even though she cannot really use Flashing Blade as a flyer, she can still use Heavy Blade because her attack isn't really all that bad. And she does have a preferred weapon, and she already comes with attack speed solo, so that can always be done for a Gale Force build. And Desperation is obviously going to be a pretty good slot B skill for her, so that she can just take out multiple armor units or multiple foes. But if you want to have more damage, then something like Moonbow or Luna are also going to be useful. The next unit we have is Spring Est. So these are the stats which I expected on her. I did think she's going to be having high attack. She ends up with 38 attack, which is just 1 point off. Expected 35 speed, she ends up with that. Defense and resistance was also really close, so this was, I guess, the closest I was for a unit on this banner. Pretty accurate speculation on Est. And she does have a super boon in attack, makes her extremely powerful nuke. And just like the trend we have on this banner, she also can be immune to any kind of debuffs and penalties with her Eagle's Egg. And she just needs to be within 2 spaces of an ally to neutralize any kind of debuff on herself. And she also gets +5 to all of her stats. So she can work out as a decent tank with Ward Flyer stacking, I guess. And as an offensive unit, of course, if we get the attack super boon, then she's going to be able to hit extremely hard and not really care about chill attack. Speaking of chill attack, she comes with a dual skill called Chill Attack Resistance. So yeah, that's just a new line of skill, and we're going to be having more and more chill skills, I guess. Meanwhile, we also get weapons, and preferred weapons would just negate any kind of chill skills. So that is interesting, but personally I don't really like chill attack resistance all that much, still preferring the normal solo chill skills because they are available as seals. And like slot B is really competitive, so for someone like Est, having Desperation or Vantage is going to be really useful. And because of the weapons effect, you can also run something like Aerobatics, Fly Formation, or any of those flying teleportation skills on her Sacred Seal slot, because she doesn't really come with something like Air Orders or any kind of teleportation skill, so that can always be done for her build. And Fury 4 is really good because she already gets the Spectrum buffs from her weapon, so that does have pretty good synergy. And also if you run something like Desperation or Vantage, then bonus points on that. Very powerful flying nuke. And at last we have got Spring Narcian. So I was so off on Narcian. Perhaps I treated him too harshly. He is not really all that bad as I thought he would be with my stat speculation. I'm completely off actually. Didn't expect him to have this low resistance. And as far as Lance Flyers come, he's not really all that bad because he does have min-max stat line. He actually has access to boons. He's a 4-star focus unit, so it's like not very hard to plus and merge him. Obviously, you're gonna be needing a good amount of orbs to actually do that. But still, like, having min-max stat line is way better than having a stat line that is just all over the place. Has 35 attack, which is pretty decent. 34 speed is nothing really to write home about, but at least he has access to boons, so that could help. Defense super boon is also pretty nice for making him really tanky. And while his low resistance is definitely going to be holding him back, I still think like having min-max stat line is much better than just trying to balance everything out. So he has got Gift Fork, which is just like Bartre's weapon. Very good weapon, as I said before. very useful. He is a 4-star focus, so if you do get him, he does come with shield speed, so that is pretty useful. At least they didn't make Lance experience as a 4-star skill. So yeah, Narcian is not really all that bad as a lot of people thought he would be. Even I thought he would not be all that good. So yeah, he's pretty decent, but still there is going to be a stiff competition because he's a Lance Flyer. That's a tough hill to climb, but nonetheless having min-max stat line definitely makes it an easier climb. So should you pull on this banner, in my opinion, this is one of the more passable banners. Of course, Idunn and Fir are one of those units where even one-off copy of them is going to be nice to have, but still, they are not really must-haves in my opinion, personally. So only go for this banner if you really need to. We do have Chooser Legends coming up in August, so if you are a free-to-play player, then you could definitely try to save orbs, and save orbs to the point where you could maybe try 2+ and merge a new Chooser Legends unit, because all of them are from 3 houses, and if you really like that game, then that is definitely an option. I know I'm definitely going to be doing that with my free-to-play account. So yeah, that is going to be it for this review. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, then please be sure to leave a like and a comment. Helps me tremendously with YouTube's algorithm. And when you subscribe, please be sure to hit the notification bell so that you can always get the updates to my videos whenever I upload. Because YouTube sub boxes are about as functional as putting Obstruct 3 on a unit in 2020. So with that being said, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.